What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another vlog. I wasn't sure whether or not I should make this video or not. And then I decided it's probably easier because a lot of people are going to start asking me questions, and I'm going to have to spend a lot of time messaging people back and reliving the story over and over and over again. And I just kind of wanted to be done of it. And I guess it's depending on perspective whether or not this is good news or bad news. I mean, I guess everything in life happens for a reason, and I think that sometimes in life, you know, you just gotta do what you got to do, and you got to make decisions, and you just got to go with it. You just got to run with it. And sometimes it's hard to make said decisions, and sometimes, you know, you make a decision and you realize it was a good decision, and things end up being better. And then sometimes, you know, you look back and you not that you should live your life with regret. You should never live with regrets. But, you know, sometimes you look back and go, maybe I could have made a better decision. Maybe I should have made a different decision. You know, I guess at each point, you do the best with what the situation is, and whatever at the time you think is going to be in your, you know, better good. And, yeah, basically, it must be easier to just tell you guys what's happening, so then this will make all more sense to you. But as you guys know, who know me, which I'm assuming that to be the bulk of the people who will be watching this anyways, I've been doing the restaurant thing for a while now. It's actually been, I've had 6 restaurants total in my life, which is a pretty big accomplishment. And when you're opening a restaurant, there's so many costs involved, there's so many expenses, there's so many unforeseen things that happen that make running a restaurant difficult. It's very difficult to run a restaurant. I mean, especially if you don't have a lot of financial backing, or your location is not the most ideal location, which requires more financial backing because you've got to put more into your marketing and stuff like that. And sometimes you could have everything right. Even you could lay out a bunch of money on marketing and advertising, and you could have the perfect location you think in theory, and still, you know, things can go pear-shaped. And you know, there's a lot of competition out there in the food game. There's a lot of people doing restaurants and things, and cafes, and, you know, all kinds of stuff, man. So there's a lot of competition. You got to compete with some big players as well, you know, especially when you're doing fast food and American style food, you know, burgers and pizza and dogs and things like that. At the end of the day, you got to compete with some big players. You know, you guys know who the big players are. You see them everywhere. You know, Mickey D's, Carl's Jr., freaking, you know, all the big players. You guys know KFC, freaking. So there's so many options, and that's just, you know, that's not counting all the people who just have cafes and restaurants and stuff. So a lot of options. Uber Eats came in the scene and again gave people even more options in an area that they might not have normally had access to. They might not have, you know, opted to eat at a million other places that were further away, but Uber Eats, delivery services like them. Make choices in abundance. And hey, if you're a person wanting food, that's awesome for you. It gives you more options. That's great. I'm not hating on you for that. That's cool. But unfortunately, when you're in certain areas, certain people get left behind. Not to mention the fact that companies like Uber Eats, and you guys probably don't know this, a lot of you don't know this, they take 37.5% cut from restaurants. So if you're not with them, you're screwed. And if you're with them, you're screwed. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Even if you're getting customers from Uber, it sucks, because you're not getting the full value of the customer. So I think you guys can see where I'm going with this, because I'm talking about restaurants. I'm talking about me having 6 restaurants. And at the end of the day, this is not an easy decision to have made. But I think it's time for me to close my restaurant. Yeah, it's time to close my restaurant, my current location, Sloppies that I have. We're going to be closing, and it breaks my heart. To have to do that is it's hard. I'm trying to. I don't want to start crying, so I'm doing my best not to. I knew this would be a hard video to make, and I've been every day just trying to figure out what I should do, what's the right decisions, make the right moves, do the right things. And I don't know, as hard as this is, I think it's just what I have to do. It's just what I have to do. I've been in this current location for going on almost 2 years. This is a little shy of 2 years, but closer to 2 years than not. It's been, so getting close to 2 years. And it's been hard. This location has been a real struggle from day one. Things just wasn't working the way I had hoped. I've done my best to keep things afloat for as long as I have, and after a while, you just gotta face the music, and no pun intended for myself, but yeah, it's just been really difficult. I can't explain how much stress I've had. And it's just been really hard and stressful. And the other thing is, running a restaurant takes up all your time. You gotta do so much prep and things, and unfortunately, employees and all those things are expensive. So when you have a business not doing well, you can't afford to have employees, and then you're playing the position of everyone on the team, and you're running around trying to do a million things, and it's pretty easy to get obviously burnt out by having to do that as well. It's just tiring. It's hard work. You're prepping all day for the hours that you're open, and it's just, when you're open 7 days, you're going nonstop. You're doing it. Just to open a restaurant, you've got costs, like you've got electric, you've got your food costs, you've got your rent, of course, you got all these bills, and if things are slow and you don't have enough customers to cover it, then if you can't find somewhere else to pull that money in to cover those bills, then you fall farther behind. And it becomes harder and harder to catch up when it starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when you start seeing that you're putting all this money and all this time into something, and you're, at the end of the day, you have nothing to show for it but more stress and more bills and more just like the madness. It becomes madness. Anyways, yeah, I'm closing. And it's really sad and it's really hard, but it's what I feel I have to do. It's the best decision. Just can't keep going on in the current situation as it is. So I just want to thank everyone who supported us at this current location, and people who've supported us from our previous location, and people who've just supported our brand, in distance, whether you were actually physically there or not. We've had a lot of people support us, and I appreciate that. And I'm not saying this is the end of Sloppies. I'm not saying that at all. It just definitely at that location is just really what ended up being a much, 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 much harder decision and location than I thought it would be. And yeah, it's what it boils down to. Certain places do better at certain locations. My food definitely needs to be in a way different location. Not to mention, if you guys don't know the shop, it was like really just tucked in the corner. It's like, I make a joke about it to people, but if you guys have watched Star Trek and the Klingons have their freaking their little freaking ships with the cloaking device, and I always say to people, yeah, you can't find my restaurant because the Klingons have a ship parked in front with the cloaking device. And I make a joke. I mean, I think sometimes that's all you can do is just, what can you do? Make a joke about it, laugh about it, move forward. Let it stress you, bring you down, upset you. What can you do? It's sad that things didn't work out the way that I wanted them to there, but it is what it is, and things happen for a reason. Maybe it wasn't meant for it to work there. Maybe it's meant to work somewhere else, or maybe it's meant for me to put my focus and energy back to other things that allow me to make a more positive contribution to others. I'm not saying that I think food's a positive contribution, especially good food. Puts a smile on people's face and fills their stomach and all that good stuff, and makes people happy. But as you guys know, music's my number one biggest thing, my biggest passion since I was 8 years old. Music's my love.